Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time?
January 2026 hit like a hard reset, and Meghan Markle really believed her past was sealed up for good. She was convinced the old whispers were dead, buried, and forgotten forever. No loose dots, no messy connections, no yacht chatter resurfacing. Just silence, or so she thought. She figured she slipped through untouched, clean hands, fresh image, mission accomplished. Then Joe Rogan stepped straight into the picture and ripped the whole thing open. No filters, no pauses, no mercy.
How about the other
So
prince?
you got to go to again.
How about the other prince, the one that's Epstein's friend?
Oh, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
What?
Yeah.
First of all, how odd is that guy when they're interviewing him and talking to him?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
The Queen kicked him to the curb.
Joe started poking at a chapter Meghan allegedly wanted erased permanently. We're talking yachts, elite power circles, and a lifestyle she never once tied to her name again. And that's where everything flipped upside down. Joe Rogan does not bend, period. Not for royalty, not for Hollywood insiders, not for billion-dollar influence machines. When Joe smells something off, he pulls the thread until the entire sweater falls apart. Behind the scenes, things reportedly went sideways fast. Lawyers scrambled, PR teams spiraled, and damage control kicked into overdrive immediately. Phones were ringing nonstop because the one story Meghan worked overtime to keep quiet suddenly exploded front and center. Allegations about a former yacht party lifestyle and rumored ties to one of the most disgraced royals of modern times resurfaced loudly. That's a nightmare for a carefully polished image. And understand this clearly, Joe Rogan talking is never small news. This is the biggest podcast on the planet, pulling in roughly 200 million listeners across platforms. When Joe speaks, the internet listens, reacts, clips it up, and spreads it everywhere at lightning speed. That's why Joe is a serious threat to image-driven figures like Meghan, no matter how protected they seem. He doesn't play polite, doesn't follow royal etiquette, and doesn't care about titles or status, duchess or regular person. If something feels strange, he calls it out loudly.
Influential man in the world, Time magazine should have been.
No, Meghan Markle beat me.
God. How if it's most influential, there should be there's no debate. Nobody's even in the same category as you.
I don't know. I don't think about it. I try not to. It's a little complicated.
I'm thinking about it, though.
I really shouldn't be influenced.
Joe has gone at Meghan before, and he didn't soften it back in 2020. He openly mocked her, joking that she was turning Prince Harry's life into a celebrity brand circus. He even joked she'd chase endorsements and product deals, and honestly, that prediction didn't age badly at all. Then in 2023, Joe revisited Meghan's comments about feeling objectified during her time on Deal or No Deal. His response was cold, sarcastic, and blunt, questioning what kind of role she realistically expected. No sympathy, no cushion. That's pure Joe Rogan energy. So when Joe allegedly started revisiting rumors about Meghan's yacht past and drawing links through elite social circles tied to Prince Andrew, alarms reportedly went off everywhere. This wasn't tabloid gossip or clickbait drama. This was Joe Rogan, unfiltered, uncontained, and impossible to control. Joe isn't mainstream media. He can't be silenced easily, can't be pressured quietly, and can't be bought off behind closed doors.
If you follow Harry and Meghan, you know all about Marcus Anderson. You know that he always seems to pop up.
When someone with that kind of reach starts asking about old connections, exclusive parties, and social pipelines nobody wants examined, it turns into a full-scale image crisis. Fast! Crisis mode fast. And here's where it goes even deeper. None of this chatter is actually new. The difference now is that nobody with Joe's reach ever dared to say it out loud before. These whispers have floated for years, quietly dodged, quietly buried, until now. Author Kirby Summers has spent years researching elite social networks, including writing an unauthorized biography connected to Ghislaine Maxwell. During that research, Summers claims he uncovered alleged links suggesting Meghan may have crossed paths with Prince Andrew long before she ever met Harry. According to Summers, there may be photos from the early 2000s showing Meghan on a yacht in Pattaya, Thailand, where Andrew was reportedly present.
Markle is reportedly facing a reshuffle in her inner circle as her new Netflix show With Love Meghan, which was launched earlier this month, faced mixed reactions. So how many times have we heard Meghan Markle having a best friend? You know, we've had Jessica Mulroney, Serena Williams.
These images, Summers claims, exist but were never published by major outlets. That alone raises eyebrows, especially when silence stretches that long. And here's the name that keeps resurfacing loudly. Marcus Anderson, known for his role at Soho House. Summer suggests Anderson may have helped introduce Meghan to high-level social circles years ago, connecting powerful figures across entertainment and elite networks. That's the thread Joe reportedly started pulling, and once it loosened, the whole story became impossible to ignore. There's also documented proof that Meghan received an invitation to Yacht Week 2016 in Croatia, and this wasn't some quiet sailing retreat with sunsets and chill vibes. GQ famously described the event as Sodom and Gomorrah at sea, while attendees from 2015 openly called it Tinder at Sea, a non-stop party scene where wealthy men and attractive women mixed under very specific, unspoken arrangements. Did Meghan actually attend? Nobody can confirm that, but the invitation existed, the access existed, and that's the part Joe Rogan keeps circling back to hard. Joe isn't claiming facts, he's questioning why these connections keep lining up so neatly. And here's where Joe's involvement flips the entire game. When tabloids float yacht rumors, people shrug and call it messy gossip. When royal authors bring it up, critics yell speculation. But when Joe Rogan breaks it down on the biggest podcast platform on earth, reaching roughly 200 million listeners, it hits completely different. Joe has already survived platform backlash, media attacks, and non-stop public pressure. Spotify drama didn't stop him, and cancellation attempts didn't slow him down either. So when Joe openly asks, "What's this about Meghan being on yachts with Prince Andrew?" Or "Why does Marcus Anderson keep popping up near Epstein-linked social circles?" people stop scrolling and start listening seriously. Then Joe asks the question nobody else wants to touch. Why hasn't mainstream media properly investigated this? That's when audiences lean in hard.
And you can imagine, since we first revealed this video on last night's show, the reaction around the world has been extraordinary. Piers Morgan posted on X, "We're about 2 months away from the sex tape."
Because once Joe's listeners start digging, sharing clips, and demanding clarity, carefully polished narratives don't hold up the same way anymore. That's why multiple reports suggest Meghan's team went straight into panic mode once Joe started talking. Not because he made claims, but because he asked questions they couldn't control. You can pressure tabloids with legal threats. You can manage royal press through access deals. But Joe Rogan doesn't answer to any of that. And that's the part that really scares them. Now let's break down why the Marcus Anderson angle matters so much, because this is where Joe keeps zooming in hard. Marcus Anderson is the global membership director for Soho House. He's also the man who introduced Meghan to Prince Harry. That part is widely accepted and documented, but Joe keeps pushing the uncomfortable follow-ups nobody else wants to touch. How did Anderson decide Meghan was the right match for a prince? What was their relationship like before Harry ever entered the picture? And why did Anderson have that level of confidence making such a massive introduction? Go back to 2001. That's over 2 decades of access to elite circles, and Soho House isn't just a social club. It's a high-powered networking machine. Private rooms, private parties, private introductions, all designed to keep powerful connections out of public view.
He's truthful about a lot of the things he says in Spare about this. Well, we want that story to die, so we're going to give you this story. However, he does it today. Him and Meghan do the same thing today. I've seen that Meghan and Harry tried to discredit certain media outlets because they don't like what they're going to say.
Anderson's role has always been about creating those links, deciding who meets who and when it happens. According to research Joe has discussed, one of those alleged connections involves Meghan and Prince Andrew, tied through overlapping elite networks linked to the Maxwell and Epstein-era social scene. Think about what that suggests for a second. If Anderson had been introducing Meghan to high-level figures long before Harry, then her meeting Harry may not have been random at all. Joe frames it as strategic networking at the highest level, and he keeps drilling that idea into his massive audience non-stop. And then there's the lingering question Joe refuses to drop, the Thailand yacht photos that may exist. That unanswered piece keeps the conversation burning hot. Here's where things turn serious. Author Kirby Summers claims mainstream media outlets may already have photos showing Meghan on a yacht in Pattaya, Thailand, allegedly alongside Prince Andrew, dating back to 2001. That alone raises huge questions. If those images exist, why has nobody published them? Joe Rogan keeps asking that exact question out loud. And if those photos are real and place Meghan and Andrew together during the Epstein-era timeline, this goes way beyond awkward headlines. That kind of link drags straight into one of the darkest scandals tied to the modern royal story. Now, fact-checkers have pushed back, saying some images floating online actually show model Alexandra Eskra, not Meghan. That part is true for those specific viral photos. But Summers isn't talking about internet rumors. She's talking about alleged photos that major media organizations supposedly already have but refuse to release. That's a massive difference. And Joe keeps stressing that point loudly. So why the silence? Legal threats, lawsuit fears, palace pressure, defamation risks? The same old playbook. When powerful people are involved, stories tend to vanish fast. Secrets stay buried because too many interests are at stake.
Is this preemptive announcement about Harry's security just more of the same, or is there more to it? Now, initially, I caught the first announcement on it. Then the very first announcement of it was LBC UK. And I sort of thought, yeah, typical Harry and Meghan, here we go, preemptive announcement.
But Joe Rogan doesn't play by those rules. He's openly asking why no investigation happened, why nobody is demanding clarity, and why these alleged photos, if they exist, remain completely untouchable. Joe is also hammering the double standard hard. Why does Meghan get a free pass when anyone else with similar rumors would be dragged nonstop? That's the angle Joe keeps pressing, and it's making a lot of people seriously uncomfortable. This is exactly why Meghan reportedly can't stand Joe's approach. He's using his massive platform to ask the questions traditional media refuses to touch. And that kind of exposure hits harder than any tabloid headline ever could. Now here's Meghan's real problem, and it's a brutal one. She can sue tabloids, she can lean on palace legal teams, she can manage press access and spin narratives behind closed doors. But she cannot touch Joe Rogan. Joe operates in the US, backed by massive resources, massive influence, and the largest podcast audience on the planet. Any attempt to silence him would blow up instantly and only prove his point about powerful people hiding things. Her usual strategy, legal pressure mixed with PR control, doesn't work here. You can't outlaw someone with endless backing. You can't outspin someone with roughly 200 million loyal listeners hanging on every word. So, what's the move according to reports? Silence. Hope it fades. But staying quiet while Joe keeps bringing up yacht rumors means millions hear only one version of the story. And that version makes Meghan look like she's dodging something. Sources suggest her team is furious but stuck. Responding adds fuel. Ignoring it doesn't stop Joe. Either way, it's a losing setup. Joe knows this, and that's why he keeps pushing, keeps revisiting, keeps poking holes in a carefully managed image, because nobody can shut him down. Now think about Prince Harry's position in all of this. Joe has already mocked him, publicly questioned the relationship, and even suggested Meghan approach things with ambition instead of romance.
I don't think that she'll ever let Harry go, because she is so fixated on having a title that she doesn't even have or deserve anymore, right? Yeah. Technically, she's not part of the royal family. On paper, on the website, Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
If these yacht allegations gain real mainstream traction, if the Prince Andrew connection becomes widely accepted, Harry's image takes a serious hit. He starts looking played, not protected. Imagine realizing your wife knew your disgraced uncle through elite circles long before she met you. Imagine learning your fairy tale romance might have been strategic networking at the highest level. That's the scenario Joe keeps laying out, and whether people believe it or not, the damage comes from the questions alone. Once those questions are out there, they don't disappear. This is the picture Joe Rogan is painting for his roughly 200 million listeners, and it's brutal. Harry has no clean way to fight back without hard proof. He can't magically show evidence Meghan never crossed paths with Andrew, and he can't easily explain away the Marcus Anderson connections either.
Prince Harry wanted to make amends and come meet my dad. Wow, that's just crazy. I'll tell you right now, Prince Harry, if it has to do with anything with the Netflix crew and cameras, don't even bother. My dad's had enough crap.
Sources suggest Harry is already rattled by the yacht rumors. Questions are swirling about what parts of Meghan's past are fully true. He's reportedly wondering if William and Charles had reasons to be cautious from the very beginning. And if Joe keeps pressing this angle, stacking questions and pointing out patterns, the damage only grows. Suddenly, everything gets reframed. Not a fairy tale romance, but strategy. Not love, but ambition. The public narrative starts shifting fast, and that shift is dangerous. Now Meghan's story gets recast as a woman navigating elite social scenes and landing the ultimate prize through the Soho House network. And here's where Joe's focus turns extremely deliberate. Mainstream media barely touches Soho House, but Joe goes straight there because Soho House has long been linked to controversial figures and ultra-wealthy power players. Take Ron Burkle, the billionaire investor. He's reportedly been a member since 2002 and has faced public questions over social overlaps with Epstein-linked circles. Soho House runs on secrecy. No photos, no recordings, no leaks. Everything happens behind closed doors, and that's not accidental. That secrecy is the product. It's the selling point. Private spaces where influential people meet without public eyes watching. So when Joe starts asking what really went on inside those Soho House rooms, what kind of networking Meghan was doing, and whether Marcus Anderson was facilitating introductions between ambitious women and powerful men, the club hits a wall. Soho House can't deny facilitating connections. That's literally their business model. They exist to connect people, but they also can't investigate Anderson without risking exposure of how the entire operation works. He's been making high-level introductions for decades. Joe's questions put Soho House in a no-win situation. Either they defend Meghan and Anderson, or they stay silent and let speculation grow. Either way, the mystery around their secretive networking system gets dragged straight into the spotlight, and that's exactly what Joe wants. Joe wants uncomfortable questions spreading. Who met who? How were introductions made? What deals, favors, and relationships form behind those closed doors? Because once those questions start moving, Meghan's carefully shaped origin story starts cracking fast.
Andrew, now just Andrew. There's no coming back for him, is there? I mean, you detail a lot of it in the book. There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of, but he can't come back now, sure.
Here's the harsh reality for Meghan. Yacht-related allegations floated around for years, but they stayed trapped in conspiracy territory. Mainstream outlets dismissed them as gossip and kept it moving. Then Joe Rogan stepped in. Suddenly, those same theories are reaching hundreds of millions of people every episode. Suddenly, they're being discussed by the most influential podcaster on the planet. At that point, they're no longer easy to brush aside. And Joe hasn't dropped this topic either. Joe has repeatedly questioned Meghan's motives and suggested she isn't telling her full story. These allegations slide perfectly into his existing narrative, and that's what makes the situation impossible for Meghan. If she stays silent, it looks like she's hiding something. If she responds, she feeds the story and gives Joe fresh angles to push. Joe can always fire back with follow-up questions she can't easily answer. That's the trap she's boxed into, and Joe knows it. That's why he keeps circling the issue, keeps revisiting it, and keeps suggesting there's truth behind the yacht rumors that powerful people don't want examined. Now, Joe is drilling into very specific questions Meghan's team reportedly cannot answer at all. And that's what's driving them absolutely crazy. Why was Meghan invited to Yacht Week 2016 if she wasn't part of those social circles? Why did Marcus Anderson have so much access to her personal and professional life? How did a cable TV actress afford the high-end lifestyle she appeared to be living at the time? Why was she attending ultra-exclusive events with billionaires and power players? What exactly was her relationship with Ron Burkle? And the biggest question Joe keeps repeating, did she know Prince Andrew before she ever met Harry? And the part that frustrates people the most, why won't she address any of this directly? These are not accusations, they are questions. Very specific questions, and Joe Rogan makes that crystal clear every time. He's not declaring anything as fact. He's pointing out patterns, access, and connections that don't line up neatly. And that's where his strategy becomes dangerous. Meghan can't respond without opening doors she clearly wants closed. She doesn't want to explain parts of her past she worked hard to move beyond. Joe isn't saying Meghan was definitely anything. What he's saying is simple. Here are the connections. Now explain them. Then he steps back and lets the audience do the rest. That approach is powerful. People who reach conclusions on their own believe them more strongly than people being told what to think. And Joe's audience, nearly 200 million listeners, is doing exactly that right now. So where does this go from here? Joe Rogan isn't backing off. He has the reach, the influence, and the protection that comes with being the biggest podcaster alive. Meghan's team can't silence him. They can't threaten him. They can't steer the narrative when one voice reaches more people than entire news networks. Because of Joe, yacht-related rumors are now openly discussed. The Prince Andrew connection is being questioned out loud. The Marcus Anderson networking role is under real scrutiny. And Meghan is reportedly watching a carefully polished public image crack in real time.
To me, and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael. But don't try and trick me now, because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit. John, can you just delete it, please, that bit? Because I don't want to go down.
Once Joe Rogan starts asking questions about your past that mainstream media avoids, there's no easy exit. Once the dots are connected publicly, once millions hear the same questions over and over, there's no undo button. You can't force people to forget what they've already started wondering about. At this point, the debate isn't just about whether these rumors are true. The real question is whether Meghan can survive Joe Rogan asking them in front of 200 million people. Based on the silence, the tension, and the lack of response, it's clear her team understands the damage. Joe didn't make a claim, he sparked a conversation. And once that conversation is out there, it doesn't disappear. If you've got thoughts on this, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you see things differently, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and we'll catch you on the next one.